If you're looking for the rest of the videos in this series, please go to eliithecomputerguy.com to see my full catalog of videos. Welcome back. So in this video, I want to do an overview of the FeeTech FT-MC-002-SMC Arduino Vehicle platform. So this is the vehicle platform that I use for my personal projects. I've purchased a number of them over the years, and I like these little vehicle platforms for a number of reasons. The first reason I like it is the price point of this vehicle platform. So for what you get, it only costs you, generally, it should only cost you $17 to $20. Now I do see some unscrupulous vendors out there trying to sell this thing for $80. Don't buy it for $80. A low price point for this particular platform is $17. A reasonable price point is $20. Depending if you need one or not, I might spend $25 on one of these things, but realistically anything over than that, and then it gets to be a bit ridiculous. So again, for $17 to $20, I really like that. And then when you actually get the platform, things that I like is the overall size of the platform. So the cool part is you have this upper deck, so you actually have two decks. So you can, on the upper deck, you can put your Arduino board, whatever Arduino board that you're going to use, and then on the lower deck, you can put sensors. This is where I shove a battery pack. So if I'm using this, I just shove the battery pack under there. So it gives you a lot of room. And then one of the things that I'll show you over the workbench that I really like is the motor controller for this particular platform is very small. Now, if you're looking to create vehicles with Arduino, generally you're either going to use a motor module or a motor shield. And with both of those devices are rather large. The nice thing about this is rather small. You know, I don't know, slightly bigger than a quarter. So if you're going to make a small vehicle, that's something nice to have because, again, you don't need that much space in order to be able to control your motors. So this is basically the overall what this vehicle platform looks like once you put it together. Now, when you purchase it, you're just going to get a little box in the mail that looks like this. You're going to open it up, and then you're going to get a lot of components in here. And then, again, it's one of those things that all these individual components cost a little bit of money, so getting them all together, I think you save a couple of bucks. Again, if you buy this thing for $20, yeah, less than $25, you're probably getting a good deal on this. But it comes with two motors. So the important thing with this is that these are two standard motors. So they're not continuous servo motors. That might be a little confusing. They're just two standard motors. You get the wheels. Again, when you go out there to buy stuff for Arduino vehicles, just because you buy the motors doesn't mean you get the wheels. With these, you get the wheels and you get the tires. So that's another couple of bucks. You get the caster wheel in front. That's that thing there. Of course, you get the frame. Obviously. And then you get the motor controller. So this is the FT-MC-002 motor controller. Now what's cool about this motor controller, one is, as you can see, it's relatively small, but two, basically it allows you to interact with your electric motors as if they're continuous servo motors. That makes it a little bit easier to control things like speed. So when you're moving the wheels forward, or when you're trying to do more complicated maneuvers with your vehicle, being able to control the wheels as if they're continuous servo motors can actually make life a little bit easier. So that's what this does in particular. And it is important to understand, if you buy this, when you're going to be controlling the motors with this motor controller, you're going to control them using functions for servo motors, not for standard motors. So that's just one of those things to keep in mind. So with that, let's go over to the workbench. I'll show you a little bit of the difference between this motor controller and motor module and a shield, and I'll show you some of the other things that I like about this particular platform. So here's a little bit of a comparison between the FeeTech two-channel motor controller, a motor module, and a motor shield. Again, when you're looking to create a vehicle, most of the time you're looking to try to make the vehicle as small and light as possible. And what I really like about this little motor controller is you can see how small it is in comparison to the other ways that you may control motors. So this is a motor module. So this is what you generally would use in order to control a motor. And as you can see, it's just a lot larger than this little SMC is. It's also a lot taller. So again, if you're going to put this controller on a vehicle, it's just very easy to kind of screw this in some kind of out of the way place. Whereas if you're going to have a full-fledged motor module, you got to figure out, like literally, where you're going to put something of that size. That's important, especially if you're looking at something like if you're going to use this platform. So this is from DF Robot, and this is a rather small platform. So again, one of the things you have to be thinking about with your vehicle platforms is literally from a space perspective, where are you going to put things like the sensors and controllers? Having a small little controller like this can simply be very valuable to have in your tool bag, even if you're not using FeeTech's actual frame for dealing with the vehicle. So as you can see, that's that. And then this is the motor shield. So the motor shield obviously has a lot more functionality than the little 2-channel controller does. But again, it's very large. It's a shield. It goes on top of the Arduino board. And so when you're looking at size constraints, that can be a bit of a problem. So this is what we're looking at when we're looking at the different sizes of the ways that you can control a motor with an Arduino. So now that we've seen the difference in sizes between the different types of ways that you can control a vehicle platform, let's actually go and see how this is all wired up if we're going to be creating our own little vehicle platform. So this vehicle here, literally all I've done is I've coded it to go forward, to go back, to turn left, and to turn right. So there's no sensors currently on here. There's no Wi-Fi connection. This basically right now can just automatically go forward, back, left, right. There's no other intelligence or no other sensors to it. So just keep that in mind. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look down at the bottom of this. And so this is how the controller is normally connected to this particular frame. So you have it nice and screwed down here. Again, it's nice, it's out of the way. You don't have to worry about it once you've connected it. Now on the back of it, when you're taking a look, you see the 2 prongs back there. That's what's going to connect to the motors. So you're going to plug this in. The important thing is when you plug the motors in, that they should be opposite. So you can see how the little copper connector is here, and then you see just the black here. So that's important to understand. So if you have it like this, that's going to be wrong. Basically, you want to see the copper connectors for one, and you want to see just the back of it for the other. And that makes sure that when you tell the wheels to go forward, that both of them are going forward and both of them are going backward, and you can control them in the exact same way. So that's the important thing there. Then from there, basically we have 2 sets of cables up front. So that's, again, you can see the two 3 connectors here. One of the important things to understand is you only need to give it one set of power. So you actually see positive, negative on both sides. And all you need to do in order to power this is to do it on one side. And so you have this 3-pin connector that you'll plug into one side. One of the pins will be for negative, for ground. One of the pins will be for positive, and then one of the pins will be for signal. So when you're looking at this, the white wire that they give you is for signal. So this will then control this right-hand wheel, and this one will control the left-hand wheel. If we flip this over, we take a look at the top, then what we can see is for the power connectors. So this is that 3-wire cable from the bottom. So the power connectors, all I do is I plug the red into the 5-volt, I plug the black into the ground, and that's all I need to do for power. Again, one of the nice things with this is I don't need any additional power. When I do my projects, I literally just power this thing off of these little USB power supplies. Then from there, you just have the controller wires. And so with that, all you do is you're going to plug those controller wires into digital pins. So I have this set, and so the right-hand side, I think it is, goes to pin 8, and the other one goes to pin 9. And that's all you have to do. So the power comes directly from here, and then you plug into pin 8 and pin 9, and now I can create code to make this vehicle do whatever I want. So from here, if I was going to do something such as create an autonomous vehicle, again, add sensors or whatever, what I can do is I can add these sensors to the front, and then again, just run the connectors to the digital pins, and I have all the digital pins, I have all the other analog pins available. The only pins that I'm going to be using are these 2 here. So with that, let's go over to the computer so I can show you how this code works. The code is very simple, but again, if you haven't been used to it before, you may not realize how you're supposed to code for this thing. So here's the basic code in order to be able to make this vehicle move forward, move back, move left, and move right. So this is pretty simple code. There's not a lot to it. Again, the main thing to remember is that with this particular motor controller, it makes the Arduino think the motors are continuous servo motors, not normal just motors. So if we're going to be interacting with them, we have to add the library for servos. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do pound include, and then we're going to include the servo library. So this gives all the instructions, all the functions in order to make servo motors work. Past that, we're going to have to tell the Arduino how to reference the two different servo motors. So we say servos, we say servo, and then the first one we're going to create is L servo. So this is for the left servo motor. Then we're going to say servo, and then we're going to do R servo. That's for the right servo motor. So L servo now references a servo, and R servo references a servo. Then we're going to go down and we're going to go to the void setup. So we're going to set up the environment. So here what we're going to do is we're going to then say L servo dot attach to pin 8. So this is to digital pin 8. So we're saying L servo is at digital pin 8. Then we're going to say R servo dot attach digital pin 9. So now the Arduino knows where L servo and R servo are on the board. Past that, it gets to be pretty simple. So the important thing to understand when you're dealing with continuous servo motors is when you're talking about speed, when you're talking about going forward, going backwards, and stopping, what we're going to be talking about putting in a number anywhere between 1 to 180. So when you say 90, what 90 says to the continuous servo motor is to stop. Don't do anything, don't move, stop. So when you say L servo dot right 90, R servo dot right 90, that tells both motors to stop. So that is the middle position. Then what we're going to do here is we're going to delay for 1,000 milliseconds or 1 second. And then we're going to tell the servos to go forward. So it's important to understand anything between 1 to 89 tells the servo motors to go forward, and then it's speed. So when you're going forward, the lower the number, the faster it's going to go. So when we say 80, that means it's going to go forward relatively slowly. If we said 10, it means it would go forward very quickly. So when you're talking about going forward, basically the further you are away from 90, the faster it will be. So when you say 80, that means it will go forward relatively slowly. Then we're going to delay 4,000 milliseconds, 1 second, and then we're going to say L servo dot right 100, R servo dot right 100. And so what this is going to tell the motors is to go backwards again slowly. So this is only 10 away from 90, so it's relatively slowly. If we said 170, then it would be a lot faster. Again, so the farther you get away from 90, the faster the motors will go, from 1 to 180. So now this is going to go in reverse rather slowly. Then we're going to pause. Then what we're going to say is L servo, so left servo, is going to go forward at 80, so it's going to go forward slowly. And right servo, R servo, is going to go backwards slowly. So this is then going, it should be turning it right. And then we're going to delay. Then we're going to go L servo, goes to 100, so that's going to start going backwards slowly, while R servo starts to go forward slowly, and that's going to turn it to the left. Then it will delay, and then it's just going to loop. So it's going to pause, and then loop, and loop, and loop, and loop, and loop, and that's basically how it goes. So if you want the vehicle to go forward, this is, if you want it to stop, this is how you code it, L servo dot right 90, that'll get it to stop. If you want it to go forward, basically you give it a number less than 90. If you want to go backward, you give it a number greater than 90, up to 180. And if you want it to turn, then you tweak, one servo goes one way, the other servo goes the other way, or you can have one servo stop while the other servo goes one way or the other. This is one of those things you just have to figure out exactly how quick do you want it to do something like turn, and so on and so forth. And so once you've put all of that in, then you're able to upload it, and I can show you what this actually looks like with the vehicle moving. So here we are back at the workbench. So this vehicle platform has been all wired up. The code has been uploaded to it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these USB battery packs in order to power the vehicle so that it doesn't have to have the umbilical directly back to the computer. Because if you have this connected to the computer, then it'll kind of pull the vehicle one way or the other. So by having it be fully autonomous, that will just make life a little bit easier. And then all I do is I plug this in as such, put it there. And voila! There you go. So forward, back, left, right. And as you can see, it's a little bit of an all-terrain vehicle. Well, it's not an all-terrain vehicle, but as you can see, it can go over a little bit of terrain and doesn't have any problems. So basically, there you go. That's the basic setup for the vehicle. And from here, you would add your sensors or your control mechanisms or whatever else to make this a little bit more complicated. So there we go. That was the basic overview of the FeeTech FT-MC-002-SMC. Again, overall, it's a pretty good little vehicle platform, especially when you're new, you're playing. Once you understand how to deal with making it go forward and backward using the servo code rather than the other, like the motor shield code, everything is pretty easy from there. I like the price point of these things. I like the amount of stuff that you get in the kit. I love the size of the little controller. I love the size of the overall platform. Again, that is a double layer platform, so it allows me to shove the battery in here, add sensors to the front, so on and so forth. So generally, it's been a very good platform. Now again, hashtag not sponsored. FeeTech is not sponsoring me at all. I have no idea who these people are. If they came up to me at a party and said hi, I wouldn't know them. So to be clear with this is not a sponsored thing. I've just found that I actually like this platform when I'm doing my personal projects. Now, as far as quality goes, for the most part, the quality of these things is relatively good. Again, it's an aluminum frame. I have 10 of these. I have 10 or 11 of these. So the aluminum frame is the aluminum frame. There's no problems there. Wheels are no problems. So far, the motors haven't been any problems. I have had some issues with the controller. Some of the controllers that I received have failed. The hard part here, again, the quality control with any kind of these Arduino devices, Arduino gadgets, is a lot of this stuff comes straight out of China. And the hard part is finding really high quality components can be difficult. So what I can say is, could there possibly be a failure rate of these that's higher than what I'm happy with? Yes. Is it a failure rate that's so high that I would never buy one of these again? No. Just frankly, the reason being is because when you get a lot of this stuff, you know, there's just failures with it. So that is just one of those things to keep in mind if you're going to be buying these, is just realize, just keep the receipt, and if the little motor controller fails, then make sure to return it. But then otherwise, again, when everything works perfectly, it's a very nice platform. Now, the only thing that you don't get with this kit that is a little bit annoying is the actual connectors to be able to connect the Arduino board to the frame. So I have these little nylon spacers and nylon screws and nuts that I've talked about in other videos. So that is something that you should get. So you should obviously have jumper wires. You should have these little spacers and these little screws in order to connect everything together. But other than that, the nice part with this is that you get everything. Again, a lot of other kits out there, you'll be surprised, a lot of other kits, you may get the frame, but you don't get the motor and the wheels. Or, you know, you get the frame and the motor and wheels, you don't get any kind of controller. So everything that you get in this package is nice. One thing, if you are going to go out and buy this, what I've noticed is if you go to Amazon.com and you see a picture of this vehicle, but there's no top to it for whatever reason, I guess they just sell the bottom, there's no top. A lot of times that particular model doesn't come with this controller. So when you're going to be going and looking to purchase this particular kit, make sure, actually take a look to see what's inside the box to make sure that you're getting everything that you think you're getting. And with that, that's really all I have to say with this thing. Overall pretty good thing. I've shown you the code. I've shown you how to wire this thing up. And so, as always, I enjoy doing this video, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. Please go to EliTheComputerGuy.com and FailedNormal.com to see the videos that are too dangerous for YouTube.